Hey guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the live stream. So today for December 11th, 2024, the plan is to get back on the Aria grind. I have until basically the week of Christmas, around then, to get some good practice in before winter vacation starts. And then in January, we're going to get on the afterimage 90% grind. So hopefully I can get some good progress on this before that happens. And then we'll get back to this probably after the GDQ Hotfix run. Speaking of which, just a reminder again for all of you that are interested in this. The GDQ Hotfix run for Back to Black is going to be taking place next February on the 6th, Thursday. My run is at 5:26 p.m. Pacific time. It's going to be, for again, 90% restricted. So, should be a lot of fun, very fast-paced. The route's going to be slightly different than what I've done in the past, but it should be familiar enough. But yeah, that's what lies ahead, so look forward to it. Out of the way, let's go ahead and get started with some practice. It's been a few days since I played on stream Aria, so we're gonna probably do warm-up for quite a long time, like maybe like over an hour. And then depending on how I feel, we'll do a couple runs. I forgot to make splits, unfortunately, so the splits will be ready for next stream, if I remember. But yeah, anyway, let's get started. We can start here. We don't need to watch the whole thing. Oh, let me make sure audio's working, because I actually did change audio settings for the Rune Factory. Okay, it looks fine. Let me know if audio messes up at any point. You know, speaking of which, I restarted my computer before starting the stream, and before I restarted my computer, BizHawk was lagging a ton. Like anytime I had alt tab, BizHawk would like immediately lag. It was kind of strange. And also it was lagging whenever I was dragging the OBS window. I mean, that's like by implication, right? But like it was noticeably more lag after I would drag the OBS window to move it around. So right now I have the OBS window minimized, and we'll see if that helps a little bit. Hey there, Fresedo. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, welcome to the stream. I missed my backdash. Technically, that was the first Creaking Spool successful. I mean, I had to resleep, but if that were a run, that would be a run that would continue without needing to reset. So that's nice. But I'm already feeling like weird on the backdashes right now, so hopefully that can be like slightly improved over the time of today's practice. Why did I do that? It was so good until I decided to hold forward. Hey Chewy, what's up? Waka told me that you finished DMC3 today. Congrats. Of course, the time you finish it was when I wasn't able to catch it, but regardless, hope you enjoyed it. Or you probably didn't enjoy it, did you? Yes, finally. Yeah, my guess is that you didn't enjoy it, but you enjoyed the fact that you're finished with it, right? So that's always nice. Yeah, my movement doesn't feel good right now, but we'll see how things go over time. You know, you did not. Yeah, I figured. That means surely Ecclesia will happen. Ah man, yeah, my D-pad pressing is like really bad right now. You said it's the second worst game you've ever played on stream? Oh dear. That's high praise, isn't it? The odds of Dominus Collection happening did increase exponentially today. Well, we're all rejoicing over that one at least. Oops. It's crazy. The last time I played on stream was what? Like over a week ago? Probably almost 2 weeks ago. And I already feel like a little rust. Can't be doing that again. Well, it's gonna happen inevitably, but you know, I want to at least keep a good rhythm up still, because this game is a much shorter speedrun, and it's by virtue of that, it's a lot easier to grind if I just do a little bit of time every day instead of short burst. Oh my goodness. I crouched into it instead of backdashing. That's crazy. This is such a momentum game for sure. You stop playing even for a bit and your movement sucks. Yeah, yeah. And like, I felt good at moving, or at least much better at moving than when I first started, towards when I was playing in December. But now I just like feel really bad. It was kind of like this when I was playing randomizer too, but thankfully like movement and randomizer is really easy. But it was the same idea where it was like I didn't play randomizer for a bit and I was like, huh, how do I play randomizer? But also like I don't really play randomizer that much anymore, so that's bound to happen. I was playing it way more like last year. Was it last year actually? I'm not sure. Might have been this year. Hard to remember. Why is it moving forward so much? It actually kind of sucks. Okay, the good thing is like I remember what to do at least, but yeah, definitely execution is like mega rusty. Not a backdash there. Yeah, oops. Oh, why did I backdash? That was not smart. Okay, there we go. It seems like it still worked, but I don't want to do that and accidentally damage boost and do it again. I double jumped too late. Let's see if I remember how to fight this boss. Did I miss that much damage? Probably did. Forgot to press L and R at the same time, apparently. Oh, I didn't press bat soon enough, so I lost a little bit more mana than I wanted. No. Sad. Yikes. I'll just do Chaos 1 again. Yeah, I keep trapping myself on the right. Probably focus on hitting 2 at a time from the left. Or just get better at moving. Sharpness had a Ipecac Eden's Blessing start right now, I think. He's still doing the run, I think. Yeah, yeah. That was cheap. I think I'm gonna die. You know, I'm just gonna focus on doing this. I think I'm still not ready to hit the circle while I'm hitting the third eye. Isn't he dead against the beast, or is it not that bad? I've never had Ipecac against beast myself, so I'm not sure, but it does look like he got a lot of auto attacker items, like what is it? Daddy long legs. That's it actually. Now that I'm looking at it. But he does have an extra life. Or 2 extra lives now. And Hourglass and Book of Shadows. It should be winnable. You just remember someone said Ipecac and cross spaces, the beast is really bad. Yeah, I've never had it against beast myself, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. This is the whole gravity thing. I mean, not just the gravity, I guess, but like the damage is probably weird, isn't it? Ipecac is just weird in general with dealing damage. Like it's definitely good, but you wouldn't want to rely on it if you had a way to not rely on it. Which oftentimes if you're getting it in the first place, you probably are needing to rely on it in the moment. It looks like he's fine though. Yeah, it looks like his run is doing fine. Okay, should we do just start over? Yeah, Ipecac has like carried me plenty of times with unlocks. Keep releasing up. But you know, unlocks are a different story. Like, you know, Botch Rush Hush, it's nice for those, but unlocks are different than streaks, that's for sure. Let alone gain and lost streaks. Yeah, it looks fine. Yeah, yeah. He's doing the fight right now, huh? He has enough defense where it seems like he'll be able to make it. Like, Hourglass doesn't work anymore, but he still has Book of Shadows and 2 extra lives and a holy card. Man, yeah, if you're serious about like doing a, you know, a good time grind in this game, you gotta like do it all at once. So I understand why you stuck with glitchless during the time period that you did, and then after that you're like, okay, I'm done. Once you got a PV. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like I have gotten better overall, even with the accidental break of, how long was that? Like, almost 2 weeks. But, yeah, I definitely, like, if I want to be a bit more serious about getting a good time, then I gotta just do it all at once. Oh, he's on the last phase. Oh, not... Yeah, okay, yeah, last phase right now. Yeah, he's got it. It should be fine. Wait, what the? Okay, that was weird. I don't know what happened on the first backdash. Just took 1 billion damage. Hey, Stelly, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Thank you. Yeah, unfortunately... Well, okay, I shouldn't say unfortunately, because it's self-inflicted, but I took a, like, almost 2-week break of not doing on-stream runs. And I wasn't really playing off-stream to begin with, so that distinction is not important. But anyway, and now I feel the rest, so... Yeah, I'm eating the consequences at the moment, but it's okay. We'll get another completed run one day. Stelly VTuber, indeed. Congrats on the continued PB in the Eden streak. Here to observe the Castlevania gaming. Yeah, unfortunately it's not like, you know, it's not it's not the game proper, it's a speedrun, but yeah, sentiment is shared still. Game is sick, no matter how you play it. Okay, come on. But if you are interested in the speedrun, definitely very fun. Of course, enjoy the game normally first. That would be recommended. I mean, you don't have to, but if you're interested in speedrun right away, you know, you can go ahead and do that, but it's nice to get the experience of playing the game casually first. How you can enjoy yourself without any stress. Yeah, no worries. Where's the Castlevania card game? What's that, Retro Rage? What? What are you talking about? Is there a Castlevania card game? Or you're saying where is it as in they need to make one? Konami's not making a Castlevania card game. They're gonna license Castlevania to, like, I don't know, Exceed Battle System. Similar to how they did for BlazBlue and Guilty Gear. And Uni. Castlevania roguelike deck builder. That'd actually be pretty sick though. I wouldn't mind checking that out if that ends up being a real thing. But just make sure it's done by an indie dev and not Konami themselves. Just have Konami give the license to some other indie company. And I wouldn't mind that at all. Oh yeah, Retro Rage, I am going to talk about the Gundam card game after the Aria today. 'Cause I have a lot of thoughts and I just want to collect them on the record. That way, be like a time capsule for when the game actually comes out, and I can say, "See, I told you so." Or of course, you guys can flame me for being wrong. That's why you're here. Yeah, I knew how to tempt you to watching Aria. Is that so? I think you came for Castlevania? Well, I had to give you the benefit of the doubt, right? I couldn't think the worst. Not of the legendary Retro Rage. Are you gonna play the KO 15 update? I think it's gonna come out today or tonight. Oh, I did not level up. Uh-oh. Yeah, okay. I have 2 XP to the next level, though. That's crazy. What did I miss? Killing. Oh, did I miss the Flea Man? Oh, you're kidding me. I think I missed a Flea Man or something. You know me too well. That I do. Okay, so how do you do this? Oh, there's no way, right? There's no way you gotta... Yeah, I wouldn't do this in a run. Like, this seems bad. So I gotta think of... Okay. Yeah, I gotta think of a way to get the XP I'm missing if I don't level up. Maybe just reset the room before zipping. Because it's easy to see if I didn't level up, right? So... here. And I'm going to, like, floating gardens. It's easy to see when I'm, like, not gonna level up right before I zip, so maybe I should just kill the bird that's still left, or reset the room, something like that. Because going to arena and then not being level 5 is really bad. Came for Gundam, stayed for Castlevania, how about that? Yeah, okay, I'll accept that. You saw someone kill a gargoyle with Creaking Skull? Are the gargoyles pretty squishy? I guess we can try it. But if it's easy to do that, then I don't mind doing that either. It's probably about the same speed. sticking around to try to kill the bird on the left versus the gargoyle. They're not too tanky? Okay. I'll try that. Yeah, 2 XP off is so awful. And this bird is a little bit of a pain to kill. Okay, I threw the spear too late. Oh yeah, that isn't that bad. I don't know how much XP I had, but okay, it's okay. That is slow. That is slow, but like it's better than I thought it would be. Okay. Sure, we can go from here. Actually, you know what? Let's start from Creaking Skull again. Oh, what am I doing? Not where I was. You have all the things to not be rusty on. Apparently, it's not Creaking Skull. But like the distance where I'm starting the backdash is making a difference. It seems. So that's the good part, at least. But that's like a weird thing to not be rusty at. I don't think I'm going to do a run today, but, you know, we'll do a lot of practice still. I'll have the splits ready for the day we'll actually do the runs. How about that? We're gonna take a break at the 1 hour mark because my left thumb is not liking this right now. Naturally, though. Pause. Oh my goodness, Creaking Skull ran out the wrong time, but thankfully it was only one hit away from dying. Otherwise I might have died there. Oh no. That's great. I probably should have used Creaking Skull there. I didn't think I would have enough mana, but apparently I did. That is a bad place to get hit. Thankfully, it looks like the cycles were still fine. Oops. There we go. There we go. Was it enough? So we're about to find out. Barely, wow. Good to know. Oh, I got it to move backwards a little bit too much. I lost a few seconds, I guess. Very nice. That was without the Gopwitch potions too, so at least I have oh, actually I don't have any more things left. If anything, I don't have any more healing left, but this should be fine. Ah, darn it. sucks. I wasn't holding right when I got through the wall. I think that was my last possible chance to get it, if even that. I don't know if this will work. Okay, it could have worked if I didn't mess up the zip. Sad. Oops. Oh my goodness, what happened there? I have no idea. Oh, oops. I misread that completely. Wow. How did I not get hit there? I was so dead. Yeah. Wait. No, I would have lived, but it was effectively death. Let's call it death. Because I wasn't sure if I had enough health to take that hit, but apparently I did. How did I not get hit again? Oh, that boss. Yeah, we're at 57 minutes. This might as well be a good stopping point, so we'll come back in like 5 minutes. 5 to 7 minutes, and then do another hour of practice. See you guys on the other side. Oh yeah. Hey guys, I'm back. Thanks for waiting. It's gonna be a stumble to the 2-hour mark because my fingers are actually feeling it, at least my left fingers. But on we go. Oh, oops, 1 second. There we go. was 1 pixel outside, probably. Or, okay, not 1 pixel, but I was barely outside of that detection range. Come on. Wow, the one time I decided to kill skeletons in this room. I feel like the what's it called? I feel like I'm the perfect example of the what's the word? I'm the quintessential Subway Surfers meme right now. I have like while I'm doing this practice, I have sharpness stream open, and I have the what's it called? The podcast for CS2 open as well. It's muted though, so like I don't know what they're saying, sadly, but I have the subtitles on, so I can get a sense of what they're saying. But there's gonna be the playoffs starting today for the Shanghai Major, so I'm getting ready to hear the pundits go at it. It was a really good year for competitive CS2, so I'm excited to see which team actually manages to win. Yeah. Yep, I can't help it. I gotta watch everything. When you were grinding true 90%, you would watch Twitch during the beginning of the Oh my goodness. That category is mind-numbing. Is that the one that uses debug? Remind me what true 90% is. Oh, 0 HP. Oh. Oh, yeah. That's understandable then. Debug's a little slower. Yeah, I remember some time back you were mentioning that. It's pretty funny. Genuinely hilarious. How does that happen? Like, yeah, you just yeah, you just have Twitch open on a different screen, and then it's like, all right, this is a real run now. Gotta lock in. Oh, no way. My HP. Sorry guys, apparently stream is buffering right now. Sorry about that. Probably frame dropping. Oh, let me check it right now. What's going on? It looks like the frame drops are over. It was very brief. Yeah, seems good now? Okay, yeah, excellent. Oops. Oh, too late. Oh, okay. Okay, this is the backup. This is the time. It's time for this right now, right here, right now. Let's do it. Oh, oops. Down here, right? Oh, does that work still? Apparently it does. Wow. Probably not probably not the best way to do it, but at least I eventually got here. Okay, very nice, yeah. Oops. How did I not get hit? I missed like one jump and felt like I should have gotten hit. Oops. Oh my goodness, I missed. I showed up again. 20 HP. There's never been a better time for Super Potion. Alright then. Great. I'm glad it was over. I've had enough of getting juggled around by the snake. Okay, let's start from below. Oh my goodness. Great start. Oh my goodness, my jump. No. I'll start from chaos. Be chaos one more time, start from the beginning. Okay, that's ridiculous. From the top. I did it too late again. Literally the same thing. Lately I've been messing up in the exact same way, so that can be either a relief or a bad sign. As long as I don't build a habit of messing up, I guess, but it makes things easy to correct at least. Unfortunate that the skeleton went back to the left. Great start. Amazing start. Good die, right? Okay. Yeah, if he moved forward after that attack, could have died right there. Oh, that's great. Oh, the desync is so high. Oh my goodness. I have enough mana for this. Barely. Oh my goodness. 0 mana. Well, now I don't have 0 mana, but I had 0 mana going into the transition. I wonder what would have happened if I were lower on the zip. Oops, yeah. Yeah, pretty rough. Maybe double jumping towards the center would have been good. Okay, let's do one more cycle, I guess, from Creaking Skull. And that'll be all for Aria today. It's pretty low HP. But it's fine to use the potion. Hey there, Juan. Whoa, 3 hellos. Hello, hello, hello to you too. Okay, yeah, this is pretty low. Let's see. Nah, I gotta use a potion. There's no way. I'll try, though. I'll try. Oh, okay, hold on, hold on. Let's go. It's barely enough. Ah. It's bad. I'm surprised some of these cycles, but it's kind of RNG anyway, I guess. Oops. like a sequel to Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I don't really know actually how it would be considered, but yeah, it's related to the Symphony of the Night story. Yeah, I don't know if I guess sequel is technically correct, but I wouldn't call it that necessarily. Like the Castlevania games are kind of all their own thing for the most part, but they're related, of course. All Castlevania games are very good. Yeah, in my experience so far, all the Metroidvania Castlevania games are really good. I can't really speak for the ones before Symphony of the Night, because I haven't really played them. Like, I played a little bit of Rondo of Blood. That's it. I can't really speak for the rest of them, though. But they're very different. That's the thing. The ones, like, before Symphony of the Night are very different. People call them Classicvanias, because they play so differently. But yeah, all the Metroidvania Castlevania games I've played, the ones like Symphony of the Night, Circle of the Moon, although that one's a little bit of a standout one in not necessarily the good ways. And Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow, which is this game, Dawn of Sorrow, Order of Ecclesia, those are all good. Those are the ones I played. I haven't played what's it called? Orchard of Ruin, but I'm sure it's good. It'd be very weird if it weren't good. I'm having this issue again. Just having trouble mapping L and R together in my brain. It sucks. Oh no. Yeah, that's good for today. But that was a productive de-rest. I think I'll be ready for runs next time. As far as when that will be, we'll see. Thursday is going to be the resumption of the another Craps Treasure blind race. Friday, we'll see about that one. I'm not sure if that will be something else I have to do, or if we'll have time to do some RS practice. But the weekend, hopefully, I'll have time. So, yep. Try again. Yeah, but I've reached my 2-hour mark, which, you know, 2 hours is like, it's not, I mean, obviously it's not like exact where I should stop. Oh, it's 2 hours, I gotta stop exactly at 2 hours. Not sound like that, but more so I'm trying to keep my hands in good condition. 2 hours is like my, it's like my time frame for being productive while still being in good condition while playing. So we'll play more next time. But yeah, very diminishing returns after a while. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you start to just fall off in productivity. Yeah, and for me, like my best like progress is like usually in the middle of the 2 hours. So yeah, but anyway, yep. Thanks guys for watching the Aria. I'm gonna take like a 3-minute break just to get up and stretch, and then we'll talk some Gundam card game news, info, etc. The things that we know so far. So just give me a bit before we get to that. I'll see you guys there. Okay guys, I'm back. Thanks for waiting. So, the Gundam card game. This was announced... I don't remember when it was announced initially. It was announced this year for sure, like maybe in early fall, like kind of after summerish. I can't recall exactly. But yeah, Bandai has released some information on the game on their website, and this is like their newest line of the card games they've released in rapid fire recently. Honestly, that's like the most concerning part. They've been just chugging out and churning out all of these new card games, and a lot of them get like support for a very short period of time, and then suddenly they go radio silent on them. It's kind of what happened to Digimon. That's what seems to have happened with Battle Spirits, because it's doing very poorly in Japan right now. But on the other hand, you have games like One Piece, TCG, and Dragon Ball Fusion World, whatever it's called. Those two games are doing quite well from Bandai, and they're still getting pretty good support, especially One Piece TCG. That game really popped off, especially in the West. But yeah, Gundam card game's on the way. Next year is when it officially gets released. Right now, the beta is available. Unfortunately, you have to order it through a very scuffed system that I think bots got to first, so I couldn't get my hands on it, unfortunately. But people managed to have a chance to play it at some of the recent conventions that Bandai had, both in Utrecht, Netherlands, I believe, as well as in Orlando, Florida. It's either Orlando, Florida, or Houston, Texas, one of those. But regardless, basically now there's information on the game available. And we can see here the website, as well as all of the tabs they have, the products that they plan on releasing, which I don't think is populated at the moment, but they're going to populate that later with the sets. Currently it's just the edition beta. And the card pool, when I took a look at it some days ago, the card pool seems pretty good, honestly, for starting out with not even like the first set or even the trial decks. This is just straight up the beta edition, and a pretty solid card pool. Good mix of vanilla cards, good mix of generics that will set the foundation for how the game goes forward from here. So it's all pretty exciting. There's a couple of things though that I wanted to talk about, which is why I'm doing this on this stream. Normally I'll talk about card game stuff on my second channel, but since this is like, I don't know, kind of fresh on my mind, I wanted to do it while I was streaming another thing, so that's why we have this segment today. So let's get to it. We're gonna start by just going through the how to play videos that they've released, and we're gonna watch it on the Japanese narration, because the English narration, I don't know what happened with it, but it's really strange. That's all I'm gonna say. I know some people in the comments say that it's like AI voices. I actually don't think it's AI voices, but it's like probably people that don't voice act and we're just phoning in. But it's like, I'm a fan of... Okay, never mind. Anyway, we're not going to watch the English narration. We're just going to watch this one. So before I kind of get out of line. But yeah, so the way this game plays, it's pretty straightforward. It's got a resource system where you accumulate resources once each turn, and you use these resources to play new cards. And the number of cards that you can play per turn is based on how many resources you have, because you'll obviously have to pay costs for playing cards. But also, there's a restriction on cards you can play, such that you have to have a certain number of resources to be able to play them, and this number of resources is called your level. So it allows for a pretty steady progression of turns without, you know, dumping your whole deck or hand on the first turn of the game. But yeah, here they're showing, of course, just unit card, pilot card. What was the other cards here? Unit card, pilot card, command card, and base card. So I'm gonna pause here. You know, they just speed through it. I'm gonna skip through other stuff, because when they get to the actual demonstration match, we're not gonna watch the whole thing. We're just gonna watch the interesting tidbits, because the match in this video is not super interesting compared to the one that they had a month ago or so. They actually re-uploaded it in different languages, but Yeah, a month ago they had this gameplay video. This was the interesting one. And it ended pretty funny. So if any of you are interested in watching that, definitely give it a look. But we're not going to watch that right now. But yeah, there's these 4 cards: unit cards, pilot cards, command cards, and base cards. Basically, let me do theater. Basically, the units are the ones that you're going to attack with. It's like minions in Hearthstone. And of course, you pay cost to play them. They stay on the field, yada yada. Pilot cards you can pair with the units, and it gives them more stats. But the pilot cards themselves cannot be used for anything. Like, you have to pair them with the units for them to be used for anything. So to compensate for that, the pilot cards usually have some additional effect on them, either being a command super type, or they have a burst effect that allows you to, when you reveal it upon taking damage, you either bring it to your hand or you get some other special effect. And then command cards like spell cards and Yu-Gi-Oh! They usually just some one-off action that you take, and then they go to the discard pile. And then and also command cards usually have some other card type as a subtype underneath. It could be like a pilot, or it can be some other effect, but yeah. And then base cards are like cards you can place in your base zone, or like base area, whatever it's called, and it allows you to get like temporary health, so to speak. So if you're like in the middle of the game or early game, like this is like an immediate way to get additional health. And they usually provide some effects that allow you to either ramp or get more units on the field, or protect yourself from taking more damage, those things like that. But they usually never attack themselves or deal damage, at least based on the card pool we see so far. We're going to take a look at the cards, of course, later. But those are the card types here. And there's also recommended ratios for these cards in your deck, because this game is 50 card decks, and you can run up to 4 copies of each card based on the serial number in your deck. So they have recommended ratios for deck building that we're also going to take a look at later on. But yeah, these are the basic card types. And they say the 50 card deck building. Yep, 4 cards, 4 copies of each card type. Yeah, this is the interesting thing, right? So they have 4 colors in this game, kind of similar to Vice, I guess, Vice Schwartz, that is. And these colors, out of these colors so far, I think it's only red that has no actual cards out right now, because everything is only from the beta edition, and the beta edition doesn't have any red cards. But there's blue, green, and white currently, as far as we know. And they tend to have different kinds of effects. Like, I can't really categorize what kind of effects each color has, but from what I could tell, like, blue is cards from the 0079 era of Gundam. So like, you know, UC Gundam series. And then the white colors are cards from like Gundam Seed and Gundam Unicorn, and I think Witch from Mercury, those series. And then green, I can't remember. There's like some other color, but yeah, anyway. But what's noteworthy, we're going to talk about it a little bit later on, but what's noteworthy so far is that there's a bunch of strong cards that are available from the white color that are like just generics, like really good generics. We're going to look at the card pool soon for that, but it might mean that early on you pretty much have to run this color in your deck because it has all the good cards at the moment. And that's just like a card pool thing. That's not necessarily like, you know, intended, I imagine. But anyway, yeah, you can have up to 2 colors in your deck. Yeah, so for resources that you accumulate over the course of a game, they're in the form of these resource cards, and you have to have 10 of them before you start the game. They're like external to your deck. They're not part of your 50 card deck, but they're external. And you can think of them similar to Hearthstone mana, the way they accumulate.
機動戦士ガンダムシードの青白デッキがいい。違う作品をまたいでデッキが組めて、それで戦えるのは夢みたいだね。そうなの。ガンダムカードゲームだ。
Okay, we can skip this. This is useless. All right, there we go. Yeah, so the starter game procedure seems to be pretty simple. There's some weird things though, so I can explain before they go over it. So of course, 50 card deck, blah, 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 right? You decide who goes first. And then you place your 50 card deck in your deck area, and your starting hand is 5 cards, right? But you're allowed to redraw once or mulligan once. The thing is, when you mulligan, you have to send back your entire hand. So you decide to mulligan or not. There's no like, oh, I get to choose which card to send back. You know, Vanguard, you get to choose what card you send back. Vice Schwartz, you get to discard cards that you don't want. But in this game, as well as in current day Magic, you send back your whole hand, right? So, or I'm actually current day Magic, I'm not sure if that's true, but if any of you know, correct me on that. Regardless, in this game, you have to send back your whole hand to the deck. Thankfully, it's to the bottom of the deck. It's not like you have to shuffle it in, so you know you're not like gonna see the same cards guaranteed or whatever. But yeah, you're only allowed to do it once, and then you draw back your hand. The thing is, after you draw your hand, so after you have your starting hand, they're gonna get to that. Yeah, place your resource deck. So yeah, here's the starting 5 cards. And then the thing that's interesting, it's similar to Hearthstone, where you have to figure out if your hand has a good curve for early game and mid game. The main thing that you have to look out for is the level, as they're showing here. The cost, to some degree too, but the level is the more important one, because the level determines what turn you can play the card, pretty much. If you're going second, there's going to be something interesting to point out if you're going second. But if you're going first, it's pretty much as you see it. So you got to send back cards that are high level so that you can get a better hand. But as you can see, the redraw is your entire hand, so you better have a good balance of high and low cost cards so that you don't just get completely bodied when you redraw. So yeah, after the starting hand is drawn, the top 6 of your deck are put into your shield area, and this is like your health. There's some interesting things to talk about for the shield cards, but we'll get to that a bit later, I think. So for now, yeah, that's basically your health zone. And then there's a last set of procedures for when you start out, which is placing your EX base using your tokens. And basically, when you play the Gundam card game, it's required to have 2 types of tokens: the EX base token and the EX resource token. So the EX base token goes in the shield area at the start of the game, and basically the EX base token is just a base with 3 health and 0 attack points. That's pretty much it. It doesn't do anything else, but it's like a buffer for your health early game. And yes, you can always place a base in the shield area to replace the EX base, but you might as well just leave it alone so that you actually can make use of the 3 health that you have, because that's like health that you start out with that you're kind of more so guaranteed to have throughout the game. Whereas if you place another base right away, you could kind of waste the 3 health, so but yeah, anyway, this is a token card. And then the player that goes second gets an EX resource, and this is like Hearthstone starting with the coin, except it's worth distinguishing this in this game because the EX resource being in the resource area immediately puts the player that goes second at 1 level higher than the player that goes first, as long as this EX resource is in the resource area. The thing is, the first time you use the EX resource to pay a cost, it'll go away. Like, it'll disappear from the field. So you'll no longer be 1 level higher after you've used it for the first time. I think that's a really cool implementation of solving the going first advantage issue that card games have. This is like an elegant solution for it, in my opinion. But one thing I didn't mention too is that the resource deck has to be exactly 10 cards. Can't be any more or less. And your resource area cannot have any more than 10 regular resources in it. Similarly, your resource area cannot have any more than 5 EX resources in it. Because there are ways to get EX resource tokens through other card effects. And basically, by the game rules, you cannot accumulate more than 5 EX resources. And you cannot accumulate more than 10 regular resources. So they want to set a limit on how many resources you can gain. Like, you know, if the game goes really long, they don't want you to just keep building resources so that you can eventually play your whole deck on one turn or whatever. Even though that's pretty unlikely to happen regardless. But yeah, that's the extent of the interesting prep portions of this game. I guess the other interesting part is that the going first player draws a card on their first turn, which is interesting. It's interesting. Vanguard has that too, but a lot of card games these days that are released don't have that. Yeah, this is pretty standard nowadays. A way to represent horizontal and vertical orientation of the card, to say that you've used it versus it's still usable. In this game it's called, I think, rest and active. I'm actually not sure what it's called. I forgot. There's too many games. I forget what they're called. Yeah, so you can draw on your first turn if you're on first. I actually love this, that the resources that you can use for the game are not from your like hand, they're like external. That makes it so that you don't have to use cards from your deck. Like Magic, where you have to play land cards, you know. Yeah, this is just saying, like, of course, if you have cumulatively X number of resources in your resource area, that dictates the level of cards that you play. You can play, regardless of whether those resources are rested or active. Yo, ball on curve. Insane. Ball on curve. We'll look at the card pool later, but ball seems like it'll be really good early into the game. Early into the game's lifespan, that is. So there's a hand limit in this game of 10. And when we look at the comprehensive rules, we'll see that the hand limit is enforced only at one period of time in the turn. So it's not super strict. Yeah, so after we see like kind of the way the game flows early on, we're gonna skip through faster. And actually we might not even watch the rest of it once we see that. But yeah, the way the game flows is kind of like at this point you see this for every Bandai TCG, the way the game flows, like building your resources, playing cards, etc. But I think the implementations they took for this game are all really solid. Like they took ideas from a lot of different games, but I was pretty impressed with the way the game seems to flow based on watching this video and based on reading the comprehensive rules. So it's still pretty slow right now, of course, right? But you can see that the player 1 is now at level 2. So now Jim, this Jim unit here can be played, as well as Hawk of Endymion. But the thing is, Hawk of Endymion is a command card with a pretty specific effect. So it's not something that is necessarily good to play this early, but it's like an effect that's possible to play because player 1 is at level 2 right now. And also, Hawk of Endymion has a subtype of a pilot, so it can still be paired with a unit, and that's what they're saying right now. Yep, so some command cards have pilot effects as well. And yeah, the way the game officially calls it, I'm going to pause here briefly. The way the game officially calls it is a pilot effect. So this is still a command card, It's not a pilot card, it's a command card, but it has a pilot effect. And when the card is on the field, placed as a, or when the card enters the field as a pilot, it becomes a pilot. But it's not a pilot card still. It's still only a command card. But no card would refer to it as a command card on the field. But yeah, it's a little weird. But it's worth making that distinction because I imagine later on they'll print cards that check what card type you have. And if this card is on the field paired with a unit as a pilot, then it'll only be a pilot at that point. So yeah, there you go. Pairing. So when you pair a pilot with a unit, it just goes underneath it and it gives the stats to the unit. Now you're probably wondering, like, why would you ever do this? Why would you ever run pilots to begin with? The payoff of running pilots in your deck is if you have a unit that you just deployed that turn, and you pair a pilot with it, then that unit can attack on the same turn you deployed it. So it's like it gets around summoning sickness, basically. Otherwise, the unit cannot attack until the next turn. So it's worth pointing that out. It's not just the stats you're getting. It's the fact that the unit can attack right away. But you can't really take advantage of that in this position that the first turn player is in, because they played ball on curve. Yeah, so for attacking in the Gundam card game, basically you can either attack rested units or you can attack the player. How do I say this? When you attack the player, you deal damage to the player, and then the damage is determined on the shields that are available. So in this case, since the player is attacking the opposing player because they can't attack this unit, 2 damage is dealt to the opposing player, and then that damage is transferred to the topmost shield, which in this case is an EX base. And basically, you can never, how to say it? You can never, how to phrase this? Like you can never deal more damage to one shield than its health. Like you can, but it won't like overflow into the next shield. So let's say this ball had like 4 attack instead of 2. The 4 damage would be dealt to the player and then thus to this EX base, but it wouldn't like spill over into like the next shield card that's beneath it. It would just be 4 damage that's dealt to the shield, and then the shield is destroyed, and that's it. And even if this EX base weren't here, if this ball had 4 attack still and attacked the player would still take 4 damage, but each of these shields that are in the shield zone, let me rewind a little bit. Each of these shields that are in the shield zone represent like 1 HP. So once that shield takes 4 damage, it'll then be destroyed, right? But it won't spill over into any subsequent shields underneath it. So basically, you can only deal damage to 1 shield at a time per attack. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's a little hard to phrase, or maybe I just found a bad way to describe it, but it's worth pointing that out because otherwise it would make it seem like this game like ends really fast, but it actually doesn't. Like it seems like the game gets to a pretty solid length before any player can end it. Yep, so damage in this game is persistent. So basically they suggest that you need damage counters to keep track of everything, because the damage stays there even after the turn ends. I really hope this game gets an official simulator. That would help it a lot. Yeah, deploying another unit. And it's like Hearthstone where you have like one big main phase where you can do everything. And in a main phase, you can declare as many attacks as you want. So those become like, what is it called? like battle phases within the main phase.
ドローフェーズ、リソースフェーズ。これで私はレベル3のカードがプレイできるようになったわ。それじゃあメインフェーズ。
Alright, yeah, we're going really slowly now. So, deploying this Sharazaku 2.
そのままシャーズナブルもセットするわ。
And we can see now, basically the act of deploying a pilot to or pairing a pilot to a unit that's deployed in that same turn. So that unit can attack the same turn it's deployed now. And also notice how the EX resource goes away now it's been used. The way player 2 did it, she made sure to not use the EX space until playing the level 3 card, or until the level 3 card was already played. Because otherwise she wouldn't be able to play the level 3 card, right? If she used the EX resource first, then the level 3 card couldn't have been played. But the order was fine, so. So, one thing too about pilots, when you pair it with a unit, not only does it give it the stats, but it also usually gets an effect. And sometimes there's something called a link requirement, where if the pilot that's paired with the unit represents a certain like trait or faction or whatever it's called, or is like the card name that the unit specifies for link requirement, then you get like a bonus effect of some kind. I don't know what the bonus effects are. We can look at it when we see the cards, but that's the gist of this. But even if you don't meet the link requirement, you can still attack with that unit that's paired with the pilot the same turn that it was deployed. Oh, my mistake. Okay, it's actually only linked units that can attack the same turn deployed. It's not any unit paired, so you have to specifically meet the link requirements to do that. So, my bad. That's actually an important distinction. So this is another attack on the player. And you see how it dealt 5 damage to the shield, but it's only going to deal it to that one shield. So it goes away, and still attacking the player with another unit. And even though this deals 3 damage, it's only going to destroy 1 shield. So now we can see what happens when a shield is destroyed. You basically flip it over and you check if it has a burst effect. And you can see that this card, Kira Yamato, has a burst effect. And the burst effect is just send this card back to hand, it looks like. Yeah. So yeah, it basically just goes to hand when you reveal it. So usually when you have a pilot card in your deck that's only a pilot and nothing else, then those pilot cards will have a burst effect. It's to like incentivize running them, I guess. But also it just allows you to get like raw card advantage out of playing the game normally. Because, you know, you're going to take damage throughout the game, right? But if you take damage, this is like an easy way to get cards to your hand if it's a card with a burst effect, and usually pilot cards have them. So this just goes straight to hand after being revealed. Now, if it didn't have a burst effect, then it would just go to the trash, the discard pile. But since it has a burst effect, it's going to go to hand. Yeah, no, they're just basically saying what I just said. キラヤマトもバースト効果でこのカードを手札に加えるってあるから、本来トラッシュに行くべきシールドが手札に来てくれるから嬉しいわね。なるほど。じゃあキラを手札に加えるよ。Yeah, so it's added to the hand. このターンはこれでおしまい。エンドフェーズでターン終了ね。Alright, so we're getting the gist of it now. We're gonna see like maybe 1 or 2 more turns. But I don't think we've seen the unit-on-unit combat yet. But it's not like that bad. It's pretty simple still. Yeah, draw. Oh, one thing we should see too is when Hawk of Endymion gets used. That's towards the end. I can skip for that one. So yeah, what she's saying is like, if you have your base area empty, or your base zone, I don't know how it's called, but if it's empty, then you can play a base card in your hand to it. And this guy has a base card in his hand called Side 7. So because it's only level 1 and cost 1, he can play it right now to his base area. And this will give him like temporary HP. You can think of it like that. Because this base has 4 hit points. So it's pretty nice. The thing is, most bases, when you deploy them, they have an effect where when they're deployed, you have to take your top shield card and add it to your hand. So, you know, you're not just getting like free HP to like, you know, forever, I don't know, stay alive or whatever. You still have to remove one of these shield cards. But because you're adding it to your hand, you're not losing any card advantage. So it's still pretty nice. And this can be a nice sponge for damage still. Usually the base cards have a pretty strong effect that takes you forward in a game. Oh, I forgot to edit the title. Sorry about this. There you go. Yeah, getting a card in your shield area, your hand is really strong because most of your deck is probably going to be unit cards. And if a unit card gets destroyed in the shield area, unit cards usually don't have a burst effect, so they won't be able to go to your hand when they get destroyed. But using a base card can allow you to get the unit cards to hand, so it's really good. So we're going to see unit on unit combat. Because the opponent's unit is rested, it can be chosen as an attack target. So they just deal damage to each other. It's very simple. The damage is dealt simultaneously. And again, damage is persistent, so it's tracked using damage counters. Yeah, the ball, I guess the ball has an effect where you can recover 1 health from one of your units, or recover 1 damage from your unit. Oh man, leaving 2 resources available to be used for the next turn. What is this guy gonna be up to? I think we're gonna see it though, the Hawk Endymion usage, so I'm gonna skip for that. So she deploys a base card. She's at level 3 now. And that's just straight plus. Apparently this base card deploys a token unit when it enters the field. That's pretty nice. That's really nice. It can be used right away, as you can see though, because it enters the field rested. Wait, so how did she know that he had Hawk Endymion in his hand? Cheating. Cheating. But anyway, so yeah, a lot of people call this like hand traps in other games, but for a Gundam card game, it seems like if you have how to say it, if you have a command card in your hand that designates action, an action can be used during action phases, and there are 2 action phases during a turn. So basically, there's 2 windows where you can use these kinds of cards. there's an action phase, or like action step. I should call it action step. There's an action step after declaring an attack, and then there's an action step in the end phase. So those are the times where you can use these like kinds of cards. And some units also have action effects, but those can only be used if the units are on the field, unless it specifies that it can be used in the hand. But for unit action effects, they can only be used in the field. So this is like this game's hand traps. And we're going to talk about Hakim and Endymion. I think this card is kind of crazy. But basically, it's going to bounce a unit that has 3 or less HP of the opponent's. And bounce just means return to hand. So this is pretty crazy. Like, it's a cost 1 level 2 card. And the cards it can remove, because it's like only requires it to be 3 HP or less. You can see like the value it's going to get out of a 1 cost card. It can remove this, which was a level 3 2 cost card, or it can remove this, which was brought out from a base. Pretty crazy value. Yep, so if basically if a unit leaves the field, the pilot that's paired with it goes to the same zone that the unit went to. So if it gets returned to hand, it goes to hand. If it gets destroyed, it goes to the trash. If it gets removed from the game, then it also gets removed from the game, to my understanding. And that's it. I mean, the rest, there's not even anything else in this video. So we're just going to stop watching it there. And we have a couple more things to talk about. So let's talk about the card pool first. So we saw some of the cards in that game, but we didn't really see much, to be honest, right? Also, let me get the music back. Okay, so yeah, the card pool, this is what we have so far. 84 cards. They're all from the 8th edition beta. And we can see the different types of cards: unit, pilot, command, base. There's no resource cards as of yet. It's just the card that goes in your resource deck. I imagine they might print more kinds of resources that can go in your resource deck later on, but for now, it's just the vanilla resource at the moment. And then there's the EX base, the EX resource, and the unit tokens. These are all token cards, all 3 of these. EX base is used at the start of the game, so you have to have it when you play the game. And then the EX resource you also have to have, just in case you go second. But you only play it when you go second. And then finally, unit tokens. I think these are not required, but if you ever generate like a unit token from a card effect, then these would be used, basically. Alright, and then the important stuff is all in the units and the pilots and the commands and the bases, right? So we can take a look at those. There's plenty of cards though, so I'm not gonna like read all of them, or like it's not really worth it. Definitely look at them on your own though if you're interested. But we can see the kinds of effects they have, right? This is a pretty generously costed RX-78 Gundam unit, and it's in level 4 cost 3 is like mid game, it seems like. So the stats are reflective of that, and we can see the properties of this. The zone is space and earth, apparently. I don't know if that's ever been used in any way, but I guess this is there. And then these are the traits. Earth Federation and White Base Team, these are like the traits of the unit. I think these are referenced occasionally. And then right here underneath that is the link requirement. So basically, if you pair this unit with Amuro Ray, then you fulfill the link requirement and it becomes a link unit. And link units can attack as soon as they're deployed. Yeah. And then we can see the effects. So Repair 2, I guess, is just recover 2 HP from this unit at the end of the turn. And during pair, so the pink boxing around this is to indicate that it's like a continuous skill. Or I don't know how it's called, continuous effect, I guess. But this is fulfilled when the requirement is active, which is during pair. So it doesn't have to be linked, it just has to be paired to some kind of pilot. And during your turn, all of your units get +1 AP. So pretty nice. Alright, then this is the same card, but it's an alternate art. with foil pattern, I guess. And we see Gundam mobile armor form. When paired with a white base team pilot, you draw a card. And when paired is a condition that is a one-shot effect. It's not going to be during paired, like continuous effect. It's going to be a one-shot trigger effect, basically. Yeah, this is level 5, 3 cost, 4/3. It's pretty okay, not expensive, but it's like mid-game to get this out, right? You have to wait a long time to get this out, and you draw one card, which is nice, but it's only when paired, so you're not going card advantageous. You're going card neutral. So yeah, and then there's Jim, which is a vanilla beater. That's level 2 and cost 1. I think a 2/2 is not that good, but we're gonna see, I guess, when this game gets in more people's hands, we're gonna see if 2/2 is considered good. But playing a 2/2 on the second turn, I don't know if that's really that good. Thankfully, it's only cost 1, so it's not the worst. But it has no link. It has no pilots it can link with. I guess it's called link condition. And we can see this is another vanilla beater. 3/4, cost 2, level 4. So you have to wait till turn 4 to play it or so. And it links with Suletta Mercury. So yeah, we get the gist of it. Okay, there's a couple cards that are worth noting though. So this is called a blocker, right? Blocker is like taunt in Hearthstone or protector in World of Warcraft TCG, where if something is attacked other than the blocker and the blocker is active the blocker can be rested to make the attack target it instead. So these are pretty useful to have to protect something that you have, like either prevent you from dying or prevent a unit that you value highly from being destroyed. Breach is another effect that we haven't seen yet. So when this unit's attack destroys an enemy unit, you deal the specified amount of damage to a card in that opponent's shield area. So I don't know if you can choose the card. I think it has to be maybe you can choose. I'm not sure. But I mean, yeah, anyway. And then it can choose an active enemy unit that is level 4 lowers its attack target. So this is like a high level unit, right? So that's why it's able to attack units in a way that breaks the rules. Because you're not normally allowed to attack an active unit, right? But with this card, you can break that rule. Alternate art looks nice. This is a ramp card. It's available to green. Oh, okay, I remember they were saying. So yeah, the colors kind of have special abilities. So like green is definitely ramp, from what I remember them saying. This card, when you deploy it, you get 1 EX resource. So this is temporary resource that allows you to play stronger cards in later turns. But it's a level 3 that costs 3. I haven't seen any ramp cards so far that are lower than level 3. Here we go. So this is the vanilla beater that's 3/2 instead of 2/2. But I think 3/2 is... like, 3/2 is fine, but I think 2/3 is better. So, I don't know. This is a 1/2 vanilla beater. This is pretty good, I would say. A 1/2 is pretty good. This is a 1/2 with an effect. On attack, it gets plus 2 AP. So, not bad. Ale Strike Gundam from Gundam Seed. It's a blocker, and when paired with level 4 or higher pilot, you can bounce an enemy unit that's level 4 or less, or 4 or less HP. So the bounce effect seems to be an effect they want to favor as removal instead of like outright destroying. I'm not sure if there are destroy effects, but that's what they seem to lean towards at the moment. But yeah, these are the kind of effects that are in the game. This is also a card that cycles one, draw one, and discard one. But overall, it seems like it's focused on unit-to-unit combat this game with the card pool that we have right now, right? I didn't see any like unit cards that were particularly stand out. Like most of them are pretty straightforward. And you know, it's, I guess it lays the foundation for how they want to make the unit cards. Like they don't want to make, they want to make the unit cards do a ton. They just want to allow for you to get the head-to-head combat going. But this is good. This, like similar to early Hearthstone, this is definitely going to be an on-curve game early on, where you just got to play your best cards on the soonest turn that you can play them, and then you just win. Which is why going first is pretty good usually. But they have a pretty well-balanced solution for it with the EX resource. Now we can see the pilots. There are 12 of them at the moment, and the fact that there's so fewer pilots compared to the base or the unit cards kind of shows that pilot cards, you don't really want to run too many of them in your deck because they don't do anything on their own for the most part. They only work with units that are already on the field, unless it's a pilot effect of a command card, which is a separate story. But we can see an example pilot card here, Amuro Ray with level 4 cost 1, and it has the same burst effect that we saw that Kira had in the demonstration game, where you add it to your hand when it's revealed for when it's revealed as a shield card that gets destroyed. These are its traits, and then it has the pilot effect. When paired, you choose an enemy unit with 5 or less HP and rest it. Very simple. This is still out of Mercury. Of course, same burst effect, but it's from the white color instead of the blue color. And once per turn on attack, you set as active one of your resources. So this allows you to recover a resource to use for additional cards to play during that turn, which seems pretty good. Like, that's definitely not bad. Which is why I was saying, like, white has a lot of strong cards. So yeah, there's not really some noteworthy ones here. Although I will say this, like, alternate art Char is really sick. I like it a lot. Kira right there. Banagir links. If it's linked, you draw 1 on pair, so that's pretty cool. But it's level 5, so they definitely make draw power like decently expensive. Or like, you know, you have to wait pretty long in the game to get draw power, that is. But none of the pilots just stood out as like super insane to me. They all seem pretty reasonable. So those are the pilot cards, and then the command cards is where I thought, okay, this is where things are getting interesting, right? Because there's 15 of them in total, but you're not really gonna run a ton of command cards in your deck because you need units to win the game. But the thing is, a lot of command cards have a pilot effect, and we can see that for this card called Thoroughly Damaged. It's also a pilot called Hayato Kobayashi, right? And this means that it can be paired with a unit. When you play, it can be paired with a unit, and you still pay the same cost. It still has the same level requirement, but you get whatever pilot effect is in this text. In this case, this card doesn't have a pilot effect, or it doesn't have an effect box for its pilot effect, but the unit that's paired with gets +0 AP and +1 HP. If you were to play it as a command instead, then you can only play it during the main phase, and you choose one rested enemy unit and deal 1 damage to it. So that's how that works. Same idea for this card. Yeah, so I'm not going to talk about the cards that look the same, but there's another example I want to show, and that's the cards that are action cards, command cards that have an action effect. Basically, if it says action here, then you can play it during the action step. And there are 2 action steps, as I mentioned earlier. There's an action step after attack declaration. I forgot the exact name of the step in battle, but there's like a window where you can play a card like this from your hand. And then there's an action step during the end phase. So that's the only times that this card can be played, because it doesn't say main. It says only action, so you can only actually play this during an action step. But if you play it during this battle, your shield area cards can't receive damage from enemy units that are level 4 or lower, so that's pretty decent. It's a nice defensive maneuver. And then the Hawken Endymion. So this card, I think in terms of the cost to value ratio, like this is the strongest card that I saw from the commands, other than another card we'll talk about. But this is like really strong removal. It can be used as either a main phase command or as an action step command. And you choose one enemy unit with 3 or less HP and you return it to the opponent's hand. That's really, really strong. Because returning to the hand is like a good form of removal. Especially for a game like this where you have to fulfill the level requirements and you have to pay the cost in order to play the unit. And there's summoning sickness, unless you link it. Unless it's a link unit, right? So removal like this is going to be really strong. And the way it's costed is so crazy. It's 1 cost in level 2. So I think this card might see a lot of usage early on, especially into the game's lifespan. Because it just seems so good. And even if you don't decide to use it as either a main or an action step command, you can still use it as a pilot. And the unit it's paired with gets +1 AP and +0 HP. So really strong. I think this card will see a lot of play. Intercept orders is also pretty decent, but you can see that it's not a pilot, right? This is only a command. Like, I mean, it's going to be only a command anyway, but it doesn't have a pilot effect. It's only a command type, and it's level 4, cost 2. But you can see that because it doesn't have a pilot effect, it has a burst effect. And the burst effect for it is choose one enemy unit with 5 or less HP and rest it. Not as good of a burst effect, honestly, as some other cards we've seen before. But the main and action skills are really good because you can choose 1 or 2 enemy units with 3 or less HP and rest them, which allows you to, because they're rested, you can either rest a blocker with this or you can rest something that you want to attack if it's not rested, which is really strong. I think that's going to be really useful. But because it's blue, we'll see how many people actually play it. Thankfully, blue also has this card. A Show of Resolve is the Pot of Greed of the Gundam card game. Draw 2 cards as a main phase action, or as a main phase command. Nothing else on it, just draw 2 cards. The thing is, you can only play it on turn 4 and it costs 3, so you're unlikely to be able to do much during that turn. But by not making it cost the same as the level that it is, basically they're saying that you might still have the possibility to play a weak card along with the fact that you get to draw 2 during that turn. So you still have a chance of playing like a 1/1 or, you know, a card that cost 1 during the same turn that you play this. So you're not completely like drawing 2 and then doing nothing. But because you have to wait till turn 4 to be able to play it, it's not a card you necessarily want to play a ton of copies of. And because of that, you might not really see it on curve, which is where it would be the best. So I don't know, but I think this card is still good. They definitely made a well-balanced Pot of Greed, from what I can tell. This is the alternate art, which also looks sick. I believe this is from Gundam Unicorn. Yeah, Gundam Unicorn. Still need to watch that. Yep, Citizens Take a Stand. This is I guess a finisher. And it has a burst to get it to your hand, so that's pretty good. But all of your units get +2 AP during this turn, so that's pretty solid for getting some combat in. But it's level 4. The good thing is it's only cost 1, so you're still able to do a lot during that turn if you have this card. First Contact, this is my favorite card that I've seen. Not just because of the effect, but because of the art. Like, I haven't watched Gundam Wing, but I'm aware of the memes around the scene. It's like basically like her giving a letter like that, I'll kill you, something like that. And having this as like the backdrop for a card effect like this is pretty funny. But what First Contact does, it's a burst to get an EX resource, and if you use it as a main phase command, then you get ramp because you get a rested resource, so it allows you to accelerate your resource accumulation, which is really good. So as I mentioned before, it seems like the theming they want to have is like green has some ramp cards, and yeah, like that kind of thing. So pretty good. I think people will definitely play this. And if you play this on curve, it's not even that bad. Because I imagine you'll have units on the board from turn 1 and 2. And then you play this on turn 3. You get an additional resource so that you can get to level... what's it called? You get to level 5 the next turn. That's really good. Alt art looks nice. The Witch and the Bride. So This burst effect activates the card's main phase effect, which is return to hand an enemy unit that's 5 or less HP, which is pretty strong. Like, just for the burst effect alone, like, this is really good. Playing this from your hand, maybe not as much, because it's level 5. So the impact you'd want it to have wouldn't be able to come into play as early as you like it, compared to something like Hawk of Endymion, which is early game removal or any stage of the game removal, and can be played as a pilot effect to be paired with the unit. So I think Hawk of Endymion kind of gaps this card, but this card still has its merits from what I can tell based on the burst effect. And then this is the other like standout card that I saw from the cards that are going to be in the current card pool. Overflowing Affection. It's draw 2, discard 1, and it's only level 2 and only cost 1. So this is like just straight up strong cycle. I can see a lot of decks just running 4 of this straight up because it just seems so good. Like, you can do it from turn 2 and you can still do something else during that turn. The fact that you discard 1, who cares? You get to see more cards in your deck. Like, even if you're not going advantageous from playing this card, you get to see more cards in your deck, and that's something that a lot of Bandai card games don't really have. Like, the game ends before you get to see a lot of cards in your deck because there's not enough cycling. That was especially the case with Union Arena when I played it, and that's the case with Battle Spirits, it seems like, as well. But having this card as part of like the basic foundational card pool, and it's a very low cost card, I think it's going to be really nice for the game early on. So I'm a fan. And then there's the alt art with Locus Klein. And here we have, is this the last one? Yep, this is the last one. Naval Bombardment. So you can choose an enemy unit and it gets -3 AP as the burst effect, which is not amazing. But the action is you choose one friendly unit with blocker, it gets +3 AP during this turn. So that's pretty good. This can be used like as a quote-unquote hand trap or, you know, a battle trap in that case, right? Because you're not going to use this during the end phase. It's not going to have as much impact during that. But during the main phase, or during like a battle, you can use it to surprise your opponent with a blocker that they might have thought they could get around. The issue with this is that you have to have a blocker on the field for it to be good. So, you know, I don't know if this card is really that good. I don't think many people will play it. Depends on how good blockers end up being, but blockers are good. So it's just that your deck isn't going to be mostly blockers. Your deck is going to be a lot of normal units, right? So yeah, but those are the command cards. I'm pretty impressed with what they've covered so far with just the beta edition. It's not even like the first set or anything. It's just the cards that are in the initial beta. They covered a lot of good things. They show that they're willing to put ramp cards in the game, but they've also costed them to an appropriate degree from what I can tell. They also put some good card cycling through Overflowing Affection and a Show of Resolve, and I think they're costed appropriately. Now I will say Overflowing Affection is costed really low, but which obviously makes this card really good, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's good to have something like this to make sure that players can have a way of seeing a lot of their deck. Alright, and finally there's the base cards. We're almost done looking at the card pools. There's not many base cards right now, just 6 of them. And each color has 2 at the moment, 2 base cards. They're all really good. They're all really good. I think people will be playing these. But you can't play too many, obviously, because they're not... Well, I don't know. They are impact. That's the thing. They're really good. Like, you can see, even this base card, its burst effect is deploy it. So you just get it right away. And on deploy, you get to add a shield to your hand, so you're still getting good value out of it. Then we can see the other effect of it. So activate main. And activate main just means it's an activated effect. And then once per turn, you pay 2. So this symbol means you pay 2 resources. You deploy 1 Gundam 3/3 Gundam token. If you have 0 units in play, deploy a gun cannon 2/2 token. If you have only 1 unit in play, deploy a 1/1 gun tank token if you have 2 or more units in play. So that's just really good. And the most you can get out of this, like if you don't have any units on the board, then you can get a 3-3 for 2, which is really good. That's like efficient cost to value. And it itself, if you play from your hand, it's level 3 and it costs 2, so it's not bad at all. Giving you 5 temporary HP. And then this one is burst, deploy it, and then deploy is add one of your shields to your hand. Then you rest the space, and all friendly link units get +1 AP during this turn. So this one is like, I think this is the weakest one that I've seen, but it seems like they know that and they've made it a low cost base with still high HP. So it's still nice that it does the basic things while giving you some HP, but the effect itself is not the best, I would say. And then St. Gabriel Institute, same burst effect that we saw on the other bases. And then this one doesn't have another effect along with it, but you can see that you get to look top 2 and you get to like order them such that you can put one on the top or one on the bottom. But again, this one doesn't have as much impact as white base. It's just like a temporary one-shot effect, and then it just fulfills the basic role that bases fulfill, which is temporary health. Fall Mail is like this one, so you get 3/1 token if it's your turn, so that's pretty good. But only, you see, like this only applies if it's your turn, so if you get the burst effect, then you don't get the token. So that's pretty unfortunate. I guess they don't want you to get the token and then be able to attack with it when your turn comes back. So, all right, then Archangel. It's a cost 1, level 3, and same effect as the other ones except for the activate main. Pay 2, choose a friendly unit with blocker, set it as active, it can't attack during the turn. Again, not the most amazing in my opinion. But it's I guess it has its usage. Basically, you can attack. Well, it says it can't attack during the turn, but I guess you would attack with the blocker and then use this effect. And then it's ready to block for when your turn goes to your opponent. I guess that's the idea. If it doesn't work like that, then I don't know what this card is supposed to do. And then last is Side 7, which is really good. This is a free recover 1 HP from one of your units, but it has only 4 HP. But that's because it's level 1, cost 1. So this is a really good card, I would say. For blue. But yeah, guys, that is the card pool we have so far, in effect. Overall, I think, again, they've covered a wide range of skills, but they kept it simple enough where it's not completely out of hand from the beginning. And I think most of the power of the cards, like at least the immediate impact power cards, are concentrated in the command cards, from what I can tell. The units don't have anything super crazy, but they're supposed to like just whittle down your opponent's health as a slow and steady thing over the course of a game. Whereas the command cards are like one-shot, immediate impact, high power level kind of things. But they still kept it relatively tame. So those are the card pool. That's the card pool. We can look at this. This is the play sheet that is on the website. That can be accessed from the rules tab, and then there's a place where you can scroll down and click on the play sheet. But this is just going over the basic rules that we already saw in the video. But if any of you are interested in that, again, I can put a link for it in the description after the stream is over. But yeah. So they show the steps of the battle in specificity. So this is attack step, block step, action step, damage step, into battle step. Very simple. No complicated sub steps like the damage step having like separate things and then damage calculation and all of that like Yu-Gi-Oh does. Very straightforward here. Simple steps where you attack, you block, and then you can use action cards such as commands from your hand or units that are on the field if they have an action effect, and then you deal the damage, and then the battle step's over. Simple. You can see the phases as well. Start phase, draw phase, resource phase, main phase, and end phase. And here it shows very clearly that there's an action timing during the end phase, indeed. Let's see, anything else interesting here that we can talk about right now? Oh right, how to win in this game. So the two ways to win in this game are you either deal damage to your opponent, that is like what again when you deal damage in this game it's usually to the player. If you deal damage to your opponent and your opponent has no shield cards in their shield area, then that is a win condition. So if you do that, then you win. The other way to win is if your opponent has no cards in their deck, then you win on the spot. Basically, my understanding is that the game ends immediately if your opponent has no cards in their deck. And then of course the third way is to concede. If your opponent concedes, you immediately win. But that goes without saying. Okay, so now we can see deck building. The play sheet has some deck building tips, and I think this gives an idea of how decks are going to be built early on at least. So what they recommend is 25 to 28 unit cards, 6 to 8 pilot cards, 8 to 10 command cards, and 4 to 6 base cards. So this is like allowing for you to actually play the game. Because if you have too many pilot cards, then you won't be able to do anything with them. If you have only command cards, you might be able to fend off your opponent, but you won't get started early on your curve, and you'll basically just snowball into losing. And if you have too many base cards, they can slow down the game, but too many base cards together don't do much because you only have one base at a time. And then, of course, unit cards win the game for you, so that's why you gotta run most of them. I'm sure we'll see some people run decks that have only unit cards. That'd be a pretty interesting deck concept. Just run a bunch of small guys. Oh, I didn't mention this though. So on your field, you can have only 6 units in the battle area. So like, you can't have more than 6 units. It actually says it here. If you play a unit when you have 6 units already, you gotta choose one of your units that's in the battle area, and you gotta move it to your trash. And this is not considered being destroyed, so you're not gonna get any on destroy effects. But yeah, basically, if you go over the limit, you gotta remove one of your units, put it in the trash. Yep, and then they have sample decks for blue and white and green and white, mid-range deck, ramp deck, so we can see like what they're aiming for with these colors already. And we can see that, of course, both these sample decks are running white as a color because white has a lot of strong generics. We can see that it's running Hawkem Endymion, as I mentioned, it's running Overflowing Affection, but it's not running the other card. What's it called? Oh no, it is running a Show of Resolve. A Show of Resolve is not a white color. That's right. But yeah, it's running all of those. And this deck is not running Hawkem Endymion for some reason, which I don't agree with, but you know, it's an example deck, but it is running First Contact, so. And then they give you an idea of how to play the deck. I think this was for the players that were at the events where the beta was available. So yeah. And then they have a way for you to play 4-player and Battle Royale with 3+ players. This is really nice. I appreciate this when games take into account multiplayer, basically playing with multiple people at the same time. So this will be nice to look at later on. I'm not going to take a look at it right now on the stream, but it's nice that they've taken it into account for playing the game. All right, that's the play sheet. Finally, one thing left to take a look at: the comprehensive rules. Now, I know it's comprehensive rules. We're not going to look at the whole thing on the stream, especially since I don't have much time left for the stream anyway, but we can take a look at this. So there's a couple things that are clarified in the comprehensive rules. Things such as the timings of when you can play a card, how effects are activated and resolved, those type of things. And speaking of which, so fundamental rules of the game, same as most games have. If something is on the card and it contradicts the rules, the card takes precedence. If a player is required to perform an action that is not possible, that action is not performed, but it doesn't mean you can't perform the rest of the action. Basically, this game is on as much as possible philosophy, similar to Vanguard. So you perform as much of the ability as possible. But it's not like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where if you can't do it, then you cannot play the card or whatever. Let's see. So then also when two things happen where both players have to make a choice at the same time, the turn player takes precedence. And then this is kind of obvious, but if you're choosing a number for a card, you have to choose a whole number. You can't choose a negative or fractional number. Yeah, so those are like simple things. But yeah, anyway, so we can move on. A lot of this isn't important. It's like card properties, basically. Game locations, those are useful to know when you're playing. Terminology, so they use effect instead of like ability or skill. They use effect for card text. And there are keywords and there are like just regular effects. Active and rested for upright and horizontal. Damage. Deploy is like when a card enters play. But here's the thing, so there's a difference between play and deploy, apparently. For play is when you pay the cost and deploy, or like do it from your hand. Deploy is when you place a unit or base on the field. It doesn't matter from where, and it doesn't matter if you pay the cost or not. It's considered deployed if it goes on the field, but that only applies for units and bases. For every other card, it's always going to be play, but play is usually when you pay the cost and you play it from your hand. Yeah. I think that's the only important part from that. So yeah, preparing for the game, we already talked about that when the demonstration video was playing. The progression of the turn. So start phase, there's no window to activate action cards during this. So you only basically set as active all of your units that are set as rested, including your resources as well. And then you activate anything that says start of the turn. It's a trigger effect that says start of the turn. And then you draw. And then of course resource phase, you get another resource. And then main phase is where you do all the stuff basically in the game. You can play cards, you can activate main effects, and you can attack. And if you never go into battle, your opponent cannot use action effects, because there's no action step in the main phase except when you initiate a battle. But in the end phase, there is an action step. So the action step takes place at the very start of the end phase. So that's where you can exchange action and activate action effects. And then after the action step is the end step, where you activate at the end of turn effects. Then the hand step, this is the one portion of the turn where you have to discard down to the hand limit. And after you discard it down to the hand limit, then you're done. You don't have to do that for the rest of the turn. Even if during the cleanup step, you end up going over the hand limit again. And you only need to do this on your own turn. You don't do this on your opponent's in phase. Anything else important here? Oh, right. So when you're resolving stuff in this game, in Gundam card game, things are resolved as soon as they activate. So you activate something, let's say something else triggers in response to activating that thing. When that thing triggers, you resolve it immediately. And then you go back to resolving the previous thing that you were doing. And this is only applicable for triggers, like things that trigger from other effects, because you can't like respond with an action in this game. You can only use action cards or action effects during action steps. So that is the only time where you can actually do those. If it's just like if it's just like I played a card and something triggered, you resolve that trigger, but then there's no like response for that. There's no like, oh, response, like for every little thing. There's no response window for that. It's only during the action steps. So that's really nice. It's streamlined. It makes sure that the game flows coherently cohesively and without too much interruptions. So that like it's actually fun. It's not like response and then you have to think and then you have to slow down and all of that. No, it just flows along smoothly. That's really nice. So they specify constant effects, like continuous effects, triggered effects, activated effects, command effects, which are effects from commands, substitution effects, which are like replacement effects, basically. And then tells you how to activate an effect. And then rules management. So these are like rule actions in other games, right? Basically, the rule management that takes place with highest priority is the losing condition. If any player fulfills a lose condition, then they lose on the spot. And this can happen simultaneously for both players, which will result in a draw. Or like a double loss. I'm not sure how this game treats it, but basically both players would lose. Yeah. And then of course, if you have no cards in your deck, you lose. Blah, blah, blah. When an HP of a unit, base, or shield becomes 0 or less after receiving damage, that unit, base, or shield is destroyed. And the destroy card is placed in the trash. Shields have 1 HP each. And you can see that we have to resolve rules management events as soon as it occurs. So battle area, as I mentioned, if you have 6 or more, or sorry, if you deploy a unit when you already have 6 units in the battle area, then you have to basically send a unit that's already in the battle area to the trash. And that happens as soon as it's deployed. And this is important. These units are not considered to be destroyed. Same thing for bases. You can have only one base in your base area. And if you have multiple, because you're deploying a new one when you already have one there, then your existing base gets put into the trash and it's not considered to have been destroyed. Then they go over the keywords. There seem to be a lot of keywords so far, including one I thought was interesting. They have first strike in this game, and it's similar, it seems, to like the Magic concept of first strike, MTG concept of first strike. So you deal damage to enemies before they deal it back. Yeah, otherwise, that's pretty much it. Very straightforward, comprehensive rules. I think anyone that's played a card game before can just read through this and have an easy time understanding what's going on. And that's a big plus. Easy to understand rules means that more people can get into it more easily. And also that means there will be less issues when you play the game that you're confused about how to resolve. So yeah, guys, my thoughts on the Gundam card game overall. I'm gonna say I'm pleasantly surprised. I thought it was gonna be kind of low quality, because, you know, it's like, oh, another Bandai card game, right? But no, they seem to have put in a decent amount of work into this. They've got a good card pool to start out. The rules seem nice, and the game seems like it'll offer some complexity, but still be easy to get into, which is important. So I'm just looking forward to the time where I can, you know, get the cards in my hands, open some packs or whatever, play in tournaments. Which I believe it'll be released in January, depending on the local game store, but I think when it's first released to the public is in January. But anyway, those are my thoughts. That took a bit, but I hope that was, you know, informative for anyone that was interested in hearing about the Gundam card game. I'll see if I can cut this down and put it in the secondary channel. But regardless, thanks everyone for watching today's stream. That is the conclusion for what we have. I'm not going to play another game. Let me definitely get to bed because it's getting pretty late. But look forward to the hopeful resumption of the blind race tomorrow, and further Aria practice later in the week, hopefully. But yeah, until then, have a good one, guys. I'll see you all next time.